morning, friends. Welcome here to UU Mount Airy. I'm Reverend McKinley Sims. I use he, him pronouns, and I am so honored to be co-leading this service today with the help of the wonderful, there you are, Jill. I was looking for you in the wrong place. Jill Salkin, who's going to be offering words of reflection. And, sorry, Derek, remind me of your last name. How do you say your last name? Hauk. I can remember if it was Hoke or Hauk. And Derek Hauk is going to be offering words of reflection and offering music today. So can we give a hand to both Jill and Derek? Jill is going to be offering music midway through the service as well. So everybody is doing double duty except me. Which is fine, because usually I am off in July and on vacation right now. But because we have a new little baby, and because of how KP's work schedule is, I'm going to take some time off in August instead, and I'll be here through July. So we are so glad to be together this morning, whether you are here in person in our historic sanctuary or joining us online from afar, wherever you are. It is good to be together. Today's service talks about transformational love, transformative love. We talk about putting love at the center. We lift up common values that bind us together, even though we come from different religious traditions. We move through the world in different ways. We have these common values that we hold and affirm to do good in the world and to put love at the center. And you're going to be hearing stories about transformation and love today with a definite education bent. So if you have ever been a teacher or spent time around teachers, you're going to recognize a lot of common experiences in this service today. At this point, if you would take a second to silence any cell phones, put them on Do Not Disturb. If you are here for the first time, we have restrooms at the rear of the sanctuary, down your stairs to your right, or the handicap-accessible lift to your left. We are going to have a time to offer joys and sorrows here in the sanctuary. We are live streaming this service, so it's not going everywhere in the world, but it's not just us here in the building. So if that's an issue for you, if you don't want to be on camera, when it comes, if you something you want to say during Joys and Sorrows, just raise your hand and I'll bring you a microphone. And if you are watching at home on that live stream and you need the closed captions, if you're on Zoom, hit the CC button at the bottom of your screen and you better understand moi. We like to begin our services by taking a nice, easy breath. So if you're here in the sanctuary, I invite you to wiggle your body a little bit, find yourself here and present in this moment, here in the space of this beloved community. And as you're ready and able, I invite you to take a nice, easy breath together. In and out. We believe that when we breathe together, we are together. And it is good to be together today. In Unitarian Universalist congregations, we start our service with the lighting of a chalice, the symbol of our faith community. If you have a candle at home and you want to light one with us, please do so. And I'm going to invite any RE family members who want to come up and light the chalice, but they may be too busy playing, and that's okay. We're going to read the words from an anonymous author that are on your order of service or shared to the screen behind me. As I light our chalice, will you read these words? We light
this chalice with the spirit of life, the power of love, and the promise of transformation.
Our opening hymn is number 1013. It's called Open My Heart. It's in the teal hymnal. It's very slow and meditative. So I invite you to rise in body or in spirit, and we'll sing it a few times through with Derek helping us on the piano. Number 1013, Open My Heart. Thank you. The mission of this congregation is building beloved community by embracing all souls and nurturing wholeness. And one of the ways that we embrace each other and nurture wholeness in one another is through the sharing of our joys and sorrows, sharing what we're feeling, experiencing, especially in these times, right? So if you would like to participate in this ritual and this is your first time, there are a couple of ways you can do it. If you just want to sit and listen to the meditative music, you are absolutely free to do that. If you would like to come up to the front by the side aisle and grab a stone from the basket at the rear or here on the table, take a second to check in with yourself. What am I feeling today? Who am I thinking about? Who am I holding in love, praying for, sending good energy towards? What do I need to let down for the next hour, or what do I need help holding from this community? Let that stone become infused with your joys or your sorrows, and gently place them in this bowl that symbolizes how we hold one another and practice being human together. If there's something especially pressing, I invite you to speak into this microphone that's going to be here on the floor. Tell us your name and what you're feeling or who you're thinking about today and how we might help you hold it together. Friends who are online, if you want to use the Zoom chat function to share your joys and sorrows, I invite you to do that. And please let us know if you would like them read out loud so we can share them with everyone here. You'll be able to see them online, but we won't be able to see them unless you let us know that you would like us to read it out loud. We're going to listen to some meditative music and then come back together for a moment of deep reflection. Come, whoever you are, the table of joys and sorrows is open.
Hi, I'm Bruce.
I'm Linda.
A lot of you know this, but maybe some of you don't, that on June 30th, we had a fire in the bathroom of the basement of our house. 2 ladder companies came. It was all very dramatic. We were sitting watching Dear Evan Hansen at the Arden Theater while all the drama was going on. But at the intermission, saw we'd gotten some messages and rushed home. We probably won't be back in the house until Thanksgiving is what we're told. We stayed with friends across the driveway, then half a block away from a friend that we know that was on vacation. And there's a lot of stuff to take care of, but the insurance company is being very good about it. And what would you like to add?
So, probably as we speak, there's people cleaning stuff in our house, which is great, but it's also like everything is topsy-turvy. So I guess what I ask from you all is just some patience, because we don't know where to find things. We won't be able to respond to your emails as quickly. We're probably not going to be as available for work day at the church. So just understand that we're juggling a lot of things right now.
Nobody was hurt, everything's fine. Most of the house looks great, but there were 4 inches of water in the basement. They had to smash the block glass windows, 5 of them, so there's glass everywhere in the basement. And so we just need to sort out all the stuff and clean it and figure it all out. Thanks.
So sorry, dear Linda and Bruce. My joy this morning is that I get to share this service with McKinley and Derek.
I'm Annabelle. I'm grateful this morning that Harold and I had a wonderful vacation in the Poconos, Promised Land State Park, and also I had many swims in a lake, which is my joy. I also want to express gratitude to Reverend McKinley, because yesterday during the board meeting, I got very anxious about tech issues and how to document the minutes, and he reminded us and me to just breathe. That conflict and difficulty is part of it. We're a new board. Happy to say that Beth Orrell is a new member of the board, if you don't know that. But I'm just grateful for the reminder always to allay anxiety and breathe and recognize we're human.
My name is Tim, and Annabelle, I will remind you about that thing about perfection. Don't worry about it. Things will work out. My joy is last Tuesday, my daughter, Rachel, Francis's mom, she works for Pico Energy, and they went on strike for the first time ever. And you know, their contract had ran out back in April. The company, they weren't negotiating in good faith, so the union decided to strike on the 4th of July. Yeah. And you all know what happened the night of the 4th of July. So the next day, lo and behold, the company settled, gave the union everything they wanted, and so she feels victorious. It's like her first union win. She's like, yay! And she's going to be a union official now.
Bernadette, I put in stones, one for a friend named George who's been battling cancer and had been good and just found out that it metastasized. And the other is for my sister-in-law, Karen, who has been dealing with a lot of health issues, and she finally was able to have a quadruple heart bypass on Monday after her labs got back to normal. And so it's a long recovery, and so just thinking about her.
Hi, I'm Jane, one of them, and I just want to share a joy that I'm very much settled in my new apartment, and I love it. And I took a break to see a friend in Cape Cod, so I was there 6 weeks, as Annabelle likes to do, and I like to. We were swimming. So it was a wonderful break before I have to put the pictures up and all the details. So that's it.
Hi, my name is Anam. Just a couple quick joys. One, it's always I just love being with my kiddos so much. This is Valentina here. And what's your name? What's your name? Bibiana. Also Bibi. And also just wanted another quick joy. Just really grateful to have had my first board meeting as moderator yesterday, and nothing broke. So.
Hello, I'm Sandy, and I now live in Stapley, and I want to have everyone pray or meditate or do whatever you wish for all of the people I know now who are suffering. The staff is they're just simply understaffed there. And it is very hard. It's very hard on us who live below them because they kick their feet at night and wake us up. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that I feel that my heart beat when I hear those noises coming from above, because these people are in real pain and they don't have enough people to go around and help them. So please do that.
I'm Beth, and my bipolar daughter just turned 41 today, and she's having a dinosaur party.
Hi, Louise. I just want to state just another sad grief. I'm hopefully will say this right, but Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, another innocent man killed by ICE, followed by clearly a cover-up, and this just grief.
Hi, I'm Ann. I've been in and out of being here for different reasons, but what I think about now is how grateful I am that I'm in this community and that the people around me who are having medical issues do have decent help. And I'm particularly very much aware of the families in those horrible detention centers and what's happening with the kids. So I'm piggybacking on what Louise said. So many prayers for those folks.
Hi, I'm Sharon. I had a challenging week. The 2nd of July, my car died and I was stranded, but my mechanic actually came and got me. And then my car was in the shop for a week because they couldn't get the parts and lots of other yada yadas. And I got the car back yesterday and I turned in the rental car and I drove it about 10 miles from here and it died again. And so, I had to nurse it back to the garage, and I need to get a new car. Either I need a new transmission or a new car. I vote for newer car. That's one thing, but I've also, this past week, had to have some repairs done in my basement because I found out that I've been breathing toxic air in from the basement for bunches of different reasons, and I was able to fix one thing, but when you find one thing, then you find another, and you find another, and I need to have my basement cleared out because I get really sick when I go into my basement, and I'm still having breathing problems and headaches from that. So I'm just trying to do that and live without a car, which many people do, but it's a challenge when you're not used to that challenge. So I've just been trying, and the other thing I wanted to put in is that my best friend's husband, David, they're up in Oslo, New York, but I just found out he needs to have open heart surgery in about a week. So I'm just putting out prayers for everybody. And there's so many people I've heard in the past week or two that are just going through really difficult times.
And I've been out for a while because I took a trip to Nepal with my husband, and it was a long, long hike, and it was an amazing experience. But I'll tell you about that another time. I also started coming here last summer, sort of a little under the radar to start in the summer, and so many people here welcomed me, and it just went from there. So transformation, I'm working on it, but this community has been terrific and so welcoming. Thank you.
So we're going to drop one final stone into into the bowl that symbolizes, thank you, all of the joys and sorrows not spoken out loud but held in the quiet of our hearts. Invite us into a moment of stillness and silence for all those joys and sorrows shared here in this space. Lifting up the names of Lorenzo Sadado Araujo, lifting up Nolan Wells, and I have dropped stones into the bowl for two men who I did not like, but who are beloved humans. And in the Universalist tradition, we talk about a love that encompasses everyone. And where I come from, we say the word y'all, and y'all means all. And I understand the multitude of feelings that people have for the deaths of Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, people who have contributed to immense harm in this country. And in the Universalist tradition, we talk about the power of transformative love, and the power of prayer, for me, is not necessarily that it changes the hearts and minds of older white men who contribute to harm, is that it keeps me from becoming one of those people. So I'm not telling you that you need to pray for those people, but I'm going to pray for those people and for the people who were loved by them, and that there may be some kind of transformational love that encompasses all of this, that moves forward from this moment and leads us to a place where there's no more harm caused. May it be so. Thank you. This is the fun part. So Derek Hauk is one of our newer members, and we approached Derek about this theme of what is it like to be a white person in America, and to think about living in the world today and how do we live our values out. And so Derek said, I'd like to share about my life experience. And we said, great. And Derek said, I also play the piano. And we said, great. And apparently he also plays more instruments. So we're in for a real treat to hear from Derek, and then Derek and Jill, and then Jill as well today. So I'm going to invite Derek forward to share his reflection, and then we'll hear some music, and invite you to sit back and enjoy an experience. Please welcome Derek Hauk.
Thank you for inviting me to share. I want to echo Jane's sentiments. I believe we joined at the same time, and it's an honor to be able to share with you today. In theme with the PICO strike that ended, my remarks are mainly around my experiences unionizing a charter school. So here we go. Do you want to help form a union? Asked Lee, the union organizer. Yeah, I said. Seems like a good idea. I answered as I was sitting on the couch with my best friend and coworker Chris in the South Philly row home we rented. We were in our second year teaching at Olney Charter High School, our third year teaching altogether. We found ourselves working at Olney due to the mass layoffs in the Philly School District in 2011, and Olney was hiring lots of new teachers because they were a district school being turned over to Aspira, a charter operator in the city, as part of the district's euphemistically named Renaissance Initiative. We'd been talking to Lee that night about the things we liked about our job, the things we'd like to change, having what I assume would learn was a textbook organizing conversation. Don't you think staff should have more of a say in the trainings you receive? Yeah, the trainings are kind of boring, repetitive. Don't you think you should know when to expect raises to plan for your future? That'd be nice. Shouldn't there be a contract clearly defining your duties and process for staff and administration to hold each other to those terms? Sure. I grew up as the obedient eldest child in a Lutheran, Pennsylvania Dutch family an hour outside of Philadelphia. These kinds of questions were not ones I was accustomed to asking myself, my employer, my coworkers. My respect for authority had seemingly served me pretty well up to that point. I got good grades, got into the college I wanted to, got the first job I applied for in the district. And when Lee asked what we thought our bosses would think if we asked them to form a union, I thought maybe they'll agree. Some of you know this story. So Chris and I began attending the weekly organizing meetings with our coworkers at each other's houses, hours at a time after long days teaching. At school, I was beginning to struggle to get comfortable being uncomfortable, speaking with my coworkers and potential new recruits about the union. Many conversations were gratifying, inspiring even. Some were awkward or tense as we asked people to sign cards, come to meetings. After some months, we delivered our petition and union cards that over 80% of the staff had signed to our principal. Our unionizing was an open secret at this point. The CEO had already made probably illegal comments discouraging our organizing at all staff meetings. But part of me still thought our principal would accept the petition, we'd have our union, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Our principal, it turns out, was under strict orders to make our lemon squeezing difficult. I can recall the feeling of standing in his office with 20 or so colleagues, heart racing, feeling simultaneously proud of the righteous stand we were taking and scared and uncertain about what comes next. The obedient little Dutch boy had just confronted his boss. I was bursting with excited, nervous energy that I channeled into reading up on labor history, watching documentaries about the Pullman porters, textile workers, coal miners. And we soon made our first of many marches to Aspira's Philly headquarters, joined by other union members from around the city and education advocates. The principal had refused our petition and union cards, so we sought to deliver them directly to the CEO. When we were told the CEO was unavailable, we were kind of awkwardly standing around in the lobby, unsure of how to proceed. Ron Whitehorn, a retired teacher and longtime education activist, began singing. We're gonna roll, we're gonna roll, we're gonna roll the union on. We're gonna roll, we're gonna roll, we're gonna roll the union on. We started marching around the lobby, and I thought, we're not supposed to be doing this. Looking at the bewildered looks on the other Aspira staff members' faces. And by verse 2, I thought, we are gonna roll the union on. When I got home, I immediately started researching music of the labor movement, listening to Hazel Dickens, Woody Guthrie, Paul Robeson, Pete Seeger. Although I had agreed to join the union somewhat haphazardly, because it seemed like a good idea, every day our employer, Aspira, provided new reasons why organizing was necessary. Shady financial practices emerged, union staff were written up for increasingly absurd infractions, and a slew of unfair labor practices were filed with the National Labor Relations Board. One Friday after work, I received a call from my principal letting me know that I had been fired over an incident between two students in one of my classes. I was stunned, angry, ashamed, sad. Before any of those feelings could take root too deeply, though, I found myself in where else but a union meeting, where my coworkers, now my union brothers and sisters, were hard at work planning a letter-writing campaign and petition drive on my behalf, which began first thing Monday. As the staff petition gathered signatures, letters were being sent in, and students began organizing their own petition. Pressure mounted on administration to reconsider the firing. I was in awe, disbelief, bursting with gratitude at the efforts. They meant it when they said an injury to one is an injury to all. The CEO called me into a one-on-one meeting and subtly hinted that I was set to be reinstated. He cited a moving letter he received from my wife, even though I was unmarried at the time, and the letter was in fact from my doting mother. He was also not so subtly hinting that since he's done me such a favor in advocating for my reinstatement, perhaps I would want to leave all this union mess behind and pass information along to him out of gratitude for his benevolence. The ultimate test for an authority-respecting, obedient little Dutch boy. The CEO himself making such a request, but by this time it was crystal clear which side I was on. I made no promises to the CEO in the meeting, thanked him for his time, and when I got my job back shortly thereafter, got back to work organizing. The fight dragged on. Every milestone achieved came with new challenges and setbacks. Aspira ran 5 charter schools in Philly at the time, and they spent tens of thousands of dollars at a minimum, crushing our outreach efforts at the other campuses. One school, Stetson, did get organized enough to schedule their union vote, but later canceled the election in the wake of Aspira bringing in anti-union consultants to intimidate teachers in one-on-one meetings during the course of the school day. On April 30th, 2015, we had our vote, though. Union supporters went in group to cast our votes together as our schedules allowed throughout the day. When school let out, we gathered in the cafeteria, linked arms as we silently watched the vote counters make 2 piles. Someone made tally marks and would signal as we hit benchmarks. It was so quiet. We won our union election 104 to 38, and it got very loud. It was one of the thrills of my life. 3 years of organizing had finally paid off. And then began the easy work of negotiating our first contract. Another multi-year effort full of stall tactics, new hopes, and frustrations. Our union used the term only love to describe the ways we looked out for each other, fought for and alongside each other, and the term carried over into our work with students. Even administrators eventually adopted the phrase at graduations, school concerts, classroom celebrations. Only love described our collective joy as a school. But in the union, we knew where that love was forged, in solidarity with one another, by sharing our dreams and hopes for the place that we came to work every day, and by helping each other realize that dream in ways big and small. I left the school a few years after our first contract was ratified to return to the School District of Philadelphia, determined to be a fighting union member of the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers. Aspira lost its charter a few years later due to some of the financial mismanagement we had uncovered, and they're also back in the district now. I became the building rep in my first year back in the district at Building 21 High School, located in the former Kinsey Elementary School building. Our staff weathered the challenges of COVID together and then a well-publicized relocation due to asbestos. Throughout my tenure there, I was sustained and re-inspired by the memories of only love, by the solidarity we forged there. In hindsight, I had no idea what I was signing myself up for when I said yes to Lee on that South Philly couch all those years ago, but my life has undoubtedly been changed for the better because I did. The obedient little Dutch boy I was needed to sign himself up for learning the old union maxims the hard way, probably the only way I ever would have learned them. That power concedes nothing without a demand, an injury to one is an injury to all, the union is the workers, and that there are things worth fighting for, and a whole bunch of beautiful people who will fight by your side. Thanks.
Thank you, Derek. So we're going to give him a second to recalibrate and get ready for some music, because we're going to pass the plate here in the sanctuary and take up our offering of financial resources. So we know there are lots of ways to give back to this community, and we always invite you to find whatever works for you. The giving of monies is just one of them. So this is your first time here, and I know there are a few of us. There's no expectation that you give anything to the plate, except if you would be willing to fill out one of the contact cards and let us know how you found us and how we can support you. Friends who are online, you have the options to contribute to the plate using the online form. And how it works here at UU Mountain area is the offering actually goes to 2 different places. So in your pews, you have white envelopes that you can mark change for change. Anything you put into those envelopes and any pocket change that you put into the plate that's going to be passed around goes towards a different social justice organization each month. This month, it is Al Bustan Seeds of Culture. His name I can never remember. More information is in your order of service and on the screen behind me. They are going to be our Change for Change recipient for July and August. So any change for change over the summer is going to go towards Al Bustan Seeds of Culture. Anything else you put into the plate goes towards the operating fund of this congregation. As friends online, you have the option to select those as well. We invite you to give as generously as you're willing and able, and we do recognize there are lots of ways to give back. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Turn it over to Derek.
Reverend McKinley checked the order of service with me probably 3 times, and I don't know how I sent him the wrong song title of Solidarity Together, but we'll be singing Solidarity Forever. Please join me in the chorus. I've kept the first and last verses true to the original. The third verse is a modern edition I like, and the second is a verse I wrote for a union action that the PFT held a couple years ago as we were returning from COVID. Please sing along. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have wasted untold millions on their testing companies. They have overfilled our classrooms and defunded libraries. We can build our schools up better, give our students what they need, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They divide us by our color, they divide us by our tongue, they divide us by our gender, they divide us old and young. But they'll tremble at our voices when they hear these verses sung, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies multiplied 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Sound beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful. I invite Jill forward to offer her words of reflection.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going our way. That was instead of saying good morning. And I wanted to be comfortable and sit on a stool, which I sometimes do when I'm singing. Sometimes I'm not sitting, but every now and then I do, and it's just felt right to do today, to speak to you. Is love kindness? Is kindness love? If we show kindness to a stranger, are we loving that stranger? I think so. For me, kindness is love, and acts of kindness show love. When is love transformative? It's when it changes a person's character, perspective, life path, inspires change and growth, resilience, and acts of kindness do that. Can you call up a time in your life when you felt transformative love? Something happened to lead you to know that you were, that led you to know that you were behaving in a way that was different than how you were before. I'll ask some questions slowly that might lead you to recall a transformation. What happened to change your perspective? Did you give a lot of thought to your actions, or did they seem to just come through you? Do you think it was transformative for you and another person? Wisdom helps us to be open to transformation. We can be stuck in our old ways. We can hold grudges. We can judge. We can be fearful or envious. And I realized I've been coming here for about 3.5 years, and I realized at one point we talk about covenants, and then I realized that I had one with myself, and it really, you really changed me without my having to work on it, like consciously. I just think coming here week after week and experiencing the goodness of the music and the words and all of you, McKinley. Made me very aware of having a covenant with myself and others. And in religious terms, the origin is in scriptures. A testament is really another word for covenant. Old Testament, New Testament. And in UU, a covenant is a sacred, voluntary promise about how people will treat one another and uphold shared values. So my covenant with myself has led me to really be much more conscious that our relationships come first, and the better we are with others. I have a desire to make something right more than I did before. If I have a conflict, I need to make it right sooner. If I'm short with my son and I feel like I've said something that was not the best thing to say, I gotta get back to him immediately and say, that wasn't right. Seems like such a simple thing, and like, why didn't I do that before? I guess I didn't have the wisdom. I didn't have the awareness. I'm better able to resolve conflicts, and I'm better able to know what my part is. There's one situation in particular that stands out that happened fairly recently, and it's definitely an example of transformation. And when I told McKinley this story, I hadn't thought of that word, and he said, "What a story of transformation." And that really stayed with me. And a lot of you know that I was also a teacher in Philadelphia. I was also a building rep. And oh my, the trials and tribulations of that career. It was a second career to my music. I taught for 18 years. I retired in January of 2020, right before COVID. I had no inside information. And I subbed, which I still find incredible to this day, that I subbed in February, having retired in January, because I was like out. Anyway, I've been subbing for 6 years, and I've subbed in about 52 schools in Philadelphia. I think I hold the record, but I've narrowed it down quite a bit. And I had an experience where I was with a fifth grade class in a school, you know, not far from where I live. And I always greet everybody in a school, and not unusual. And I walked into this classroom, and I'm sure I must have said good morning to a woman who was sitting there. She is a classroom aide, and there are various types of classroom aides. This is a type of aide that is with a student for maybe a period or two, and then goes to somebody else and goes to somebody else. And so the student that she was there for was late. And when he came in, he didn't have a late slip. And that's required because if you've already taken roll, they tell you it's a legal document, it has to be correct. So if you have taken roll and you've already sent it to the office, you have to make sure that the office has given this child a late slip so that they know they're not absent. It has to be correct. So I asked him for his late slip. Stay with me, because the payoff, you'll see why I'm telling this story. He said, I gave it to the office, which didn't make any sense to me, because he should have come from the office with a late slip. And I said, well, no, you need to go to the office and let them know that you're not absent, and you need to, you know, bring that slip to me, or just tell the office, whatever. In the meantime, this woman is listening to this exchange. Here I am at the teacher's desk. She's right here. The student's right here. She's not saying anything. So he went back to the office, came back with a late slip, and I said something to the effect of, whatever it was, I asked the aide. Oh, no, he told me that the aide told him to take it to the office. Okay, which made no sense. So I said to her, you heard my exchange with him. Why didn't you say something? And she kind of got up in arms, and she was unhappy with me. And she started to raise her voice. And she said, well, I didn't want to interrupt. I'm not that kind of person. She was getting loud. And if you know me well, you know that I can bark. When I need to bark, I do. And I said, well, if you're going to raise your voice like this to me, I'm going to come right back at you, because this is what we do, this is protocol, this is what he should have done. Okay. She put her hand out, I was like, talk to the hand, and she said, do me a favor, just talk to the students. Okay. She picked up her things and she left the room. Okay. I was unhappy. It was upsetting to me. Nobody likes a negative exchange. And when this class left for another class, or their specialist teacher, I was in the hallway and I was talking to a teacher. I think she may have been a teacher leader, which are in Philadelphia schools. They're not in a classroom. There are one or two of them that are language arts and math, and they assist and lead the teachers in those subjects. Okay. And I was upset, and I told her what happened. And she said to me, oh, she's like that. Okay. That was useful information. Very useful information. Okay. So this happened pretty much first thing in the morning. And as the day went on, I was thinking, I'm going to leave her a note. What do you think I wrote in that note? I wrote, Dear so-and-so, I'm sorry I don't know your name. I'm sorry that we had a negative exchange, and it is proper for students to bring a late note to a teacher. I hope the next time I see you, we can have a positive experience. And I signed my name. Now, the transformative part, which you probably already guessed, is that I was angry when it first happened. Before, I probably would have talked about her in very negative terms. I would have told my friends what happened. Do you believe this woman did this? You can tell by my body language. Do you believe this woman spoke like this to me? No, it all kind of faded away. And I thought, I don't like how this feels, and I don't want to come back to this school and feel like I have to shun her. So a couple weeks later, I was back at the same school, and I was walking another class up the steps into the building, and she was standing there with 2 other people. And of course, I said good morning, like I always do, said good morning, and I proceeded to go to the classroom. The last thing I'll be saying to you is what the person in this scenario said to me. It was lunchtime or whatever, I was in the classroom by myself. She appears at the doorway, and she said to me, "Do you remember me?" It's like, how could I forget? "Do you remember me? I was in your class, I was in the classroom with you," whatever she said. And she said, I must have said good morning or whatever, and she said, "Thank you for your note. I keep it on my bedside table to remind me how to be with people."
So we're going to let Jill and Derek now set up for a very special treat. For our middle hymn, Jill and Derek are going to lead us in the singing of Love is at the Center, a song written by our very own Jill Salkin. So we have the chorus on the first slide, just so you can look at it, and then we have the music, the sheet music, on the next slide for those of you who read music. So the words are a little small, but maybe you can see the melody and follow along.
I have to tell you that I took a picture of the music up on the slide. I had Mike pull it up for me this morning because it was thrilling for me. It was the first time that I've seen music I wrote up on the screen like that. And thanks to our wonderful Nate Berge, who took my handwritten music and did it in his program to make this beautiful chart, which is probably really hard for you to read. But that's okay. We did sing it once before, and thank you, Derek. I'm really thrilled that you're playing this with me. Like a river, the Spirit surrounds you as you sit in this beautiful space. The love that you feel all around you lets you know you're in the right place. There's a chalice we light when we gather, and a settling down of our mind. We know what brings us together and why we share this time. Oh, love is at the center. It's in everything we hold dear. Love joins our hands and hearts. Love is why we're here. There's a time to share what's on your heart and to listen to inspiration, the message and reflection in part. moments of peace and contemplation. There's an offering for those in need. We welcome all who come through our door. We know the sweet relief. We're not alone anymore. Oh, love is at the center. It's in everything we hold dear. Love joins our hands and hearts. Love is why we're here. Love is why we are here.
Thank you both. Hi, come here. Come here, come here, come here. We still have one more song to sing, though. So love is why we are here. Right? When we talk about the power of transformative love, transformational love, when we talk about putting love at the center, Unitarian Universalists use the language of covenant that you heard Jill speak of. We have a congregational covenant about how we are going to be together, the sacred promises we make together. Thank you. Go over there, please. My covenant with you. And whenever we have disagreements, we find ways to put things back together. Can you pick those up and give them back to her, please? Thank you. We have our covenant. And when people learn the language of covenant, we often think about it as like pie in the sky, very aspirational. And that's partly true, right? We try to have a very high bar for ourselves. And like the union contract, it is a real thing. Hey. Can you pick that up and take it back to your sister, please? Thank you. Come here. So this is a real life example. That when we have our covenant, when we have a relationship like a union contract, right? We don't always do the right thing. Sometimes we break our promises about how we're supposed to be together. And there's a way to repair those relationships. That's the transformation piece. So when we talk about covenant, we talk about putting love at the center, that is not just like fancy theological language, right? It's a real thing. What does it mean to put love at the center of what you do? And to think about putting love at the center of what you do. Because when you do that, I have found I'm more willing to pray for people that I don't like, right? I am transformed in that way. And that keeps the hate that they are spewing out into the world from infecting me and passing it on to these guys. So if that message speaks to you, then you are in the right place, and we are so glad to hear from different voices in our congregation. I'm so grateful for everyone sharing for their music. And what Annabelle shared earlier today, the message that I have been receiving and trying to respond to is that in this time in which we live, with all of what's going on, especially when we put love at the center in our communities and we try to live up to our covenants of how we're going to be together, the word that keeps coming back to me for times like this is grace, 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 grace. We're having fires in basements. We're having trips canceled and cars breaking down, right? There's so much going on in the world just between people being sick, and we're all getting older, right? Offering each other grace and remembering that love is why we are here, to put love at the center. That's our calling. Thank you again to Derek and Jill for offering these words today, and thank you to you all for being here. We are going to extinguish our chalice here in the sanctuary friends online if you want to do so. We're going to sing one final hymn here in the sanctuary, and then we will have an abbreviated coffee hour downstairs. And I need to tell you one more thing after we sing this hymn. But for now, we're going to extinguish our chalice. Okay. Griffin, are you going to do the chalice? Nope. We're going to extinguish our chalice, saying these words from the Reverend Elizabeth Selden. Oh, okay, I see. Would you read these words with me? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We're going to rise in body or in spirit and sing hymn number 1022, Open the Window. This one has a real swinging, I believe it's from the Gullah Geechee people, feel. Open the Window, hymn 1022 in the teal hymnal. Words are on the screen behind me. And I'm realizing right in this moment, Derek and Mike, that I don't know if the words, the choruses, I don't know where the chorus comes. If it comes after each verse or not. We have the verses in order and we have the chorus. But the chorus is pretty simple. So even if you can't see the chorus, I think we can remember it. So this is 1022, Open the Window. Give Derek Hauk a hand. And big thanks to Mike Foy for doing the AV on the fly behind the curtain. Thank you, Mike. Great job. Okay, so here's what I need to tell you before we do the benediction and run downstairs. So next week, we are going to have Janet Mason and I are co-leading the service. And then on the 26th, Mary LaValle and Mary's going to be sharing a story similar in the vein of Derek's story. And then in August, we're going to feature Black voices from our congregation. So we've got a couple of white folks speaking in July and then Black folks in August. However, concurrently, starting this week and next week, especially after the service, we received some money from the Pennsylvania Universalist Convention historical group that we're part of, gave us $20,000 to redo the bathrooms downstairs. The demolition is going to be starting this week. So probably by next Sunday, those bathrooms will not be accessible. They may be accessible a little bit next Sunday, but then after that, they will not be. So this and next Sunday are going to be our last weeks to have like full access down there. We may be able to do coffee hour downstairs next week, but more likely we will start having our Lemonade Lull coffee hour over in Hale Lounge throughout the summer, because we've also gotten money from some donors to start to redo Fellowship Hall. So we're trying to finalize the materials and to finalize demolition day, but that's probably going to start July 20th. So that next Sunday, July 19th, will be our last Sunday where we may be able to be downstairs. If we are able to be downstairs, we will also spend some time after next Sunday getting crap out of there, because they're going to be redoing the floors for sure in Fellowship Hall. So just to be aware that if you're going to come over the summer, those bathrooms downstairs will not be accessible until they get finished. It's most likely, we think, going to be Labor Day weekend. So we will have the bathrooms over here. There are two bathrooms over here. One is fully handicap accessible. And we'll be doing our coffee hour Lemonade Lull over in Hale Lounge after service. Bruce?
Just
question, comment?
we're going to have information about that
Yeah.
project after church next Sunday.
Yeah, because nothing has been 100% finalized, so we just think that's going to be the date, assuming everything goes well. So we're just making everyone as aware of that as possible. Great. Okay, so for today, we are going to do Lemonade Lull downstairs, and we invite you downstairs for fellowship and coffee hour. And then folks who are doing Justice Council, we will meet over in Hale Lounge in a few minutes. All right, kids, you want to help me with the benediction? You help me with the blessing? Can you stand up, please? Can you stand up, please? Okay, can you put your hands out? All right. We say, go in peace to love and serve the world, and may we find transformative love at the center of all that we do. Amen. Amen. Thank you, friends. Have a great week.
Got the whole thing working out just right. Ooh, and it's just the way we planned it. I tell you that we're in this love together. We got the kind that lasts forever. We're in this love together. Like berries on the vine, get sweeter all the time. the kind that lasts forever. Do 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 do. In this life together, and like berries on the vine, it gets sweeter all the time.